Speaking of lasting impacts and speaking of Kennedy Ryan, hi friends, welcome back, and if you are new here, welcome. My name is Joyce, and today I am sharing a whole bunch of book recommendations written by Black authors. We do have quite the stack here, so I am going to just get straight into it. And my first recommendation is Black Cake, and it is by Charmaine Wilkerson. Oh, excuse my voice. Oh my gosh, I am just so under the weather, but the content still had to be made, baby, because although it is Black History Month, it's Black History all day, every day. And hopefully you guys will be able to fit in at least one book before the end of the month. If not, please continue to read Black stories by Black people all throughout the year. So Black Cake was such a good time. I love that I got to do this in tandem. I got to watch the adaptation and read. There were moments where I had to stop watching and finish the book because the adaptation started to spoil different things for me because it doesn't happen in order the same way that it happens in the book. The story basically follows our main character, Eleanor Bennett, and she is the mother of B&B, Byron and Benny, and basically she leaves a recording telling them the truth about her and their family history. It is such a true depiction that sometimes when our loved ones go on, they do go on with these massive secrets, and so it was really cool just to see that explored and uncovered in this particular book. But if you enjoy and appreciate books that explore Black culture and Black recipes and Black traditions and that have that element of mystery and excitement and thrill and lots of twists and turns, this would be a very good book for you to read. The next book, surprisingly, I am not even done with it, and it is Memphis by Tara M. Stringfellow. I am about 120 pages into the book, and this will not be less than a 4-star read. It could even be a 5. I don't know yet because I'm not done, but this is fantastic so far. If you like books that explore generational trauma and generational drama and stories that span over generations of women tackling and overcoming so many tragedies and obstacles and dealing with good love and unhealthy love and just all the things. Listen, Tara is doing her thing with this. I will definitely finish this book, if not today, then tomorrow, but this is a very good book recommendation if you are into historical fiction and books that are primarily about families and their drama and how they are getting through that. This next recommendation is actually more contemporary literary fiction, which is my absolute jam, and it is Mame by Jessica George. I know that there's a lot of mixed feelings, mostly all good, but of course there's always going to be some people who didn't like a book. I loved it. It worked for me. Our main character, Maddie, she's so awkward. Okay, I forgot that I had so many notes. This book was actually really funny. This is coming of age. This is breaking down those standards that your parents and that culture and society have set for you and trying to get out of that shell and embrace your own calling, embrace your own purpose, and walk your own journey. It's also another one of those books that explores African culture. So if you're someone like me who really enjoys learning about African culture, this will be a very good book for you to read. It's also extremely modern. There's a lot involving like how Black women have to deal with white women, talking about our hair or wanting to touch it or asking inappropriate questions or being Black in a predominantly white workspace. This is a good one for all of those things. So if that sounds interesting to you, please pick up Mame. I love this book. It was such a good time. Okay, so this next book is a nonfiction recommendation, and this book quite literally changed my life, and it is We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rogers. I never even knew who she was until I read this book, and this book is magnificent. Someone said, We Should All Be Millionaires is the book we've been waiting for. Money lessons from a Black woman, a mother, a business owner, and a self-made millionaire, an author who understands the specific challenges that women face when it comes to building wealth, especially Black women. The first few chapters, or the intro, I believe, she ends up going into why a lot of Black people or Black women are not millionaires. Listen, I was hooked from that moment, but more than anything, this book implores you to buy your time back. Okay, and let me show you what I mean. One of the excuses we like to say is delegating is too hard. It is easier if I just do things myself, which is true. I am definitely one of those type of people. And then she says, delegating is a skill you can learn. It might not come naturally at first, but you can master this skill and become a delegating ninja. Eventually, it becomes so easy. It's like a game. You wake up wondering, oh, what else can I delegate today? She was very adamant that millionaires do not do everything themselves. they delegate like crazy. If somebody else can do it, they give it to someone else to do because they use their time to do things that only they can do. So if that's a creator, some people will outsource making their thumbnail or their editing. They can't ever outsource the content itself because they are the brand. You are the content. So like me, I have to do this. It's my face that you guys know. My channel is Joyce Wesley. It is me. I couldn't outsource that, but I can outsource filming. I can outsource editing. I can outsource, social media marketing and all those things. That's just one example, regular examples of how she helps people to buy their time back. There was a point in my life where I had a personal assistant. She helped me understand that that is not just a luxury for the rich. Regular people can have these things too. We can outsource grocery shopping, outsource laundry, get you a personal assistant. You can do all of these things within the confines of your budget. You can manage it around what you can afford, and you can still have these luxurious things. Oh, this book was so good. Let me just chill. The audiobook is fire as well, so just read it. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. It's such a dope book. Okay, so this next section here is all about romance. I am not a big romance reader, but the romance I do read, honey, it's good. So excuse me while I ugly cry. This is a very good recommendation for YA readers. This is a good recommendation for mothers who are raising children that are growing up in predominantly white spaces. This is also for people who do not like books with spice. All my Christian readers out there who are trying to protect themselves from all the spice and smut that comes up in books, you do not have to deal with that in this book. This book is awesome because although it is YA, it still explores very heavy topics. And what's really cool is I believe that Joya Goffney, when she wrote this, she was a young adult. I don't know how old she is now, but you can just feel the authenticity and the goodness of this book. I read this book for the first time this year and I fell in love with it, and I will never not recommend this book. The next romance book that I have is Only for the Weak by Natasha Bishop. I love this book. I'm sure that you guys have seen this book recommended by so many people, but for good reason. The book is fantastic and it feels like a good, healthy black romance. The way that Rome loves Janelle, I'm here for it. This is how you want black men to love black women, okay? I just, look at me smiling just thinking about him. It did have family drama. I'm not a fan of the sister, but I do like that they end up getting to a place where they were able to reconcile the issues that they had. Not in the best way to me, but they did reconcile it in their own way. I love the descriptions of the black people in this book. I absolutely love that our main character, Janelle, she's not your typical small petite woman. She has curves, baby, for days. And so this is just good. This is good. This is fun. This is delicious. This is spicy. So if you do not like spice, this is not the one. I also love that the black people in this book are very affluent. They have great jobs. There was one scene that drove me nuts, which is why I didn't give it that 5-star, but it's very realistic. And nonetheless, it was still an amazing read. And this is another book that I will always recommend. This next book, the next few. It's almost like the realism and the life events, they kind of overshadow the romance. The romance felt more like a subplot to me. And the first book is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This book was so dang on good. I absolutely loved it. I loved it so much. I cried, I laughed, I smiled. I love the daughter. The daughter has such a strong personality and a strong presence in the book, and I was completely and totally here for it. This book also explores an unhealthy relationship between a mother and a daughter. Not Eva and her daughter, but Eva and her mother. So if that's the type of thing that you like to see, you will get that here in this book. This book also is second chance romance. So if you like second chance romance, you do get that here. You get to see why the second chance is so important. It's like that first time was filled with so much trauma. It just was not the time for Shane and Eva to be together. And then you get to see after therapy and putting in the work how sometimes there's still some of that residue that you're still working through. But in the end, you guys can have a healthy and a happy and a safe love. Oh, this was so good. So this is definitely a romance, but it was so many other complicated and complex themes that the romance, to me, it just felt like it was secondary to everything else that the book explored. I mean, I even think she has like a chronic illness. Yeah, I think that she had like a chronic illness. I did swap my screen time when I read this book, so I will link that video if you guys want to see me read it and hear more of my thoughts on this book. My battery died, so hopefully things don't look too different. It's fine. I used that opportunity to make myself some tea. And it's so good. Oh, that is so soothing. Anyway, my next book recommendation is Before I Let Go. Oh my God, I love this book. I really do. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It is by Kennedy Ryan, and oh, I love it so much. This is definitely a book that made me cry. Listen at this. It says, understanding how you got hurt never makes it hurt less. Oh, Kennedy did her thing with this book. I love Yasmin and Josiah. Josiah is one of my favorite male characters of all time. He's so emotionally solid. He's so mature, and he's kind, and he's gentle. Oh, Josiah is just such a treat. He really is. Like, if you like books that are going to pull on your heartstrings, if you do not mind seeing people go to therapy and do the work to get better, if you enjoy seeing healthy Black love, baby, this is it. This book is so good. Oh, it's so good. I will never forget my experience with this book, and I adore it. So if you want a book that is going to leave a lasting impact on you, a positive lasting impact on you, this would be a very good book to read. Speaking of lasting impacts and speaking of Kennedy Ryan, this, baby, I can't recommend this to everyone. And I do think that you need to check trigger warnings. The book does explore domestic violence in a very graphic way. So if you are not in the space to read a book like this, please do not read a book like this. She even says herself that this book will be too hard for some to read, and she is okay with that. It is more important for you to protect your mental health than to read this book. Clearly, I annotated the heck out of this book. It's extremely powerful. I have been one of those people who have wondered, oh, if you're dealing with abuse, why not just leave? But some women, they can't. They just cannot. It is more dangerous for them to walk away and leave, or their abuser has made it impossible for them to leave. And so this has opened my eyes and expanded my heart in a new way that I just feel like we all need to have a lot more compassion towards people who have a story like Iris, and she will destroy you with this one. This is for people who do not mind being destroyed and then being put back together. This is for readers who are not uncomfortable with walking through someone else's pain. I am completely and totally here for those types of books. They do not scare me. I do have to brace myself when I'm reading them, but I am okay with reading about pain, and that is what this is. If you can handle stories like that, this will be a good recommendation for you. This is a hard one to read. I am not going to lie to you, but it ends so beautifully. Iris' journey to get her happily ever after, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. So if you can read books like that, and again, not be too triggered, and you can handle it, this is a good book recommendation for you. And on a lighter, fun note, we have A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. This was such a fun read. I sobbed at the end of this book as well, but for completely and totally different reasons. This is one of those books where you are rooting for the main character to win. She is the black sheep of her family, and she's chasing her dreams. She's putting herself out there, and you want to just see someone like that win. It does involve magical realism. This book also explores female friendships and the power of female friendships. This book explores how love can come in so many different variations. It doesn't have to just be from man to woman. It can be from mother to child. It can be from grandmother to granddaughter or siblings or whatever. Love is so healing, and this book definitely shows that. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. This was such a good time. Lots of music references, lots of TV references, lots of old black folk language references. So if that sounds like your jam, this is going to be a very fun book for you to try. I'm not gonna get over this. I'm just not. This was so much fun. Okay, so these other two books I do not have the physical copy of. One of them I got from the library, and the other one I might have got this from the library too, but I did listen to them both on Audible. So both of these books were like a 3-star for me, but I still think that they're worth recommending because they might resonate with someone so much more. The first book, it is People Person, and it is by Candace Carty Williams. This is another great recommendation for my girlies who are into literary fiction. It basically follows our main character, and she gets herself in a bad situation, and perhaps siblings have to come to her rescue. So you do get to see the power of family and what it does to children when they are growing up in a broken home and dealing with the aftermath of like a deadbeat father. It's really funny though. It's really loaded with a lot of family drama, and it is one of those books where our main character is a influencer. So if you like like books where the main character or any character is in some form of like social media or influencing, this will be a good book for you to try. And it's so funny because the main character in this next book, one of the good ones, she's also a very popular YouTuber, and this one is by Makai and Maritza Moonlight. And this book is actually very well rated on Goodreads. I didn't have a problem with the book. Like I said, I did like it. I gave it a 3-star. It just took a turn that I did not see coming. So it basically explores how our main character, she dies, and because she was like an activist and a really good person, the media is so affected by this. But then there's also other people who may go missing or may die and nobody even notice, or they don't even get a headline, or no one's even talking about them. So I absolutely love that the book explores that. I also really appreciate the fact that our main character's parents are devoted Christians, and their children are doing things and going through things and experiences that when the Christian community are faced with, you have to stop and you have to think and you have to seek wise counsel and pray and get clarity and understanding. And it was just really cool to see that explored in a book. I got through it pretty quickly, but it was a lot going on. This had a lot going on. It almost felt like Black Cake in that, like, girl, why do we have so much going on in this one book? Like, let's just stay the course. Let's focus on 1, 2, maybe 3 things. But it was still a really good book. I liked it. Like, I'm obviously recommending it. It's just not one that I think about all the time and that left this massive impact on me. Overall, it was still a very different and enjoyable read. So yeah, those are all of the book recommendations that I have for you guys by Black authors for today's video. So I hope that you take this opportunity to look a little bit further into some of the books that I recommended. Feel free to share any book recommendations that you have by Black authors in the comment section below. Do not forget to prioritize self-care, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Black history is all day, every day, baby. Oh my God, I love tea. Child, I already went back and I was reading my highlight. What's her name again? I messed my book up. Iris. Is it Iris? I got ketchup on it. You see that? This is the reason I love second chance romance. These sniffles are driving me crazy. Her tips have been proven to work. Please, and take care of yourself. Take your vitamins and stuff like that, because clearly I have a lot going on.